Good morning, everyone. Welcome to RI Elder Info's second annual Calling All Veterans virtual conference. I'm Deb Burton, the founder and creator of RI Elder Info and RIElderInfo.com. RI Elder Info is a nonprofit here in Rhode Island that provides the most comprehensive resources for seniors, caregivers, and professionals. Make sure you sign up for one of our newsletters. And without further ado, I would now like to get started and just want to double check. You did hit the share button, right? Because there's someone you know who's going to need the information that we're discussing today. So I would like to welcome Father Phil Salloy to give our invocation. Welcome, Father Phil.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Deb. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for bringing us together on this call. We especially want to remember all of our men and women that are in our veterans' home in Bristol, Rhode Island. We ask you to comfort the sick and heal them quickly. We ask you to comfort those who are dying at this time. Be with them in their time of need and with their families who love them so much. And we ask you to bless all the new residents who are coming in now to fill in all of the empty rooms that are available to them. And especially, we do not want to forget the staff members who are there giving of their time and energy for all of our veterans, all of our men and women who have served their country so well. Heal those staff members that are ill and restore them to duty. Enable them to be able to fill in all of the vacancies that they have so that they may be at their full capacity and they might be of the highest of morale and moral, and so that they may be continue to do the fine work that they're doing. We cannot forget the work of the volunteers, the many, many volunteers. They give their time and energy every day to come and to help the staff and the residents of the home, that they may continue and they may increase in numbers, and that you may keep them healthy and well. We also finally pray for all of our family members who are visiting our veterans in the home, that they may continue to exercise the utmost caution and the universal precautions of health so that they do not spread any potential disease among our frail and fragile veterans who are in the home. And now let's pray for all of our men and women who are serving in active duty. Those, we ask you to keep them safe, bring them safely home to their loved ones. And we pray now for all of our missing prisoners of war, those still missing in action, a moment of silence for them. In your holy name, O Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now, if possible, if you can all please rise for the national anthem. And if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we have some wonderful prepared remarks from our elected officials, but first, due to limited time, I must welcome my first guest, Director Kasim Yarn of the Rhode Island Office of Veterans Services. Welcome, Director Yarn.
Good morning, Rhode Island. Thank you for having me, Deb.
How are you?
I am living a dream. I get to serve. I'm a humble servant, but I get to serve those that serve this nation. I call our veterans, and more importantly, our military families.
And so, Director, can you please, in the event that there's somebody watching who's not familiar with what your office does, can you please share why someone would reach out to the Office of Veterans Services and what resources you can help people get connected with?
Oh, absolutely. Simply put, my mission is to serve both the families and the veterans that call Rhode Island our beloved Ocean State home. Be it our active duty component, we have a strong Rhode Island National Guard and Reserve, and also to our military families. And I serve with humility because in order to do this mission, this thing called Veteran Affairs, one can't do it by themselves. It's going to take the collaborative effort from our elected officials to our judicial services, our General Assembly, our federal VA partners, our congressional delegation, and our municipalities, and of course our nonprofits and other state agencies as well. All that mission working together to deliver a collective impact to serve our community.
It is amazing the work that you're doing in your office. One of the things I think folks maybe don't realize is that your office also has a voice at the Bristol Veterans Home, as well as the Veterans Cemetery. So what kind of information would people need to bring to your office if they were looking to be admitted or have someone admitted over to the Bristol Veterans Home, or if sadly they were looking for funeral services? What kind of information do they need to bring for you to be able to help them?
Right. The first thing is the character of service, identifying your character of services through the form DD-214. And that's for all those listeners out there now, probably the number one request that we get from our office to provide those services is a copy of my family member's DD-214. So those that are listening today, veteran and non-veteran, ask yourself, do I have a copy of my DD-214? As you know, it's so much easier to get to use these things that we have them readily available for in the time we need it, and when we're in crisis or we're doing a bereavement period. So please take a critical look at your files and ask your family member that's a veteran, do you have a copy of your DD-214? If you do not have a copy of DD-214, please reach out to my office, and so we can connect you with that document. If we don't have it readily available, then we have ways that we can connect that veteran to get that documentation as well. In terms of the Veterans Home, I am so proud of the work that our team is doing there to honor America's heroes. The virus, had to take a step back, but doing things the right way to ensure that the safety of our residents and our staff. But that's been a total collaborative effort from the work of our EOHS team, DHS, behavioral health, our Rhode Island Department of Health, and our federal VA partners, all working together to ensure, as we continue to navigate this virus, safety is paramount from our residents, and most also equally as important, our staff. And with our cemetery, they have not missed a beat. They've continued to do things safely based on the current COVID-19's restrictions. And again, kudos to my team there in Exeter. And I tell you, those that have not the pleasure of visiting our memorial cemetery there in Exeter, it is to the level of a national cemetery to competes with Arlington National Cemetery. It is a tremendous work for 19 staff members. And so for the past 2 years, as a result of COVID-19, on Memorial Day, the flagging of over 35,000 graves at our cemetery has been done by 19 staff members, led by retired Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force Colonel Jim Bessel.
It is absolutely a beautiful space down in Exeter, 100%. Earlier this year in May, you had a mental health awareness event. Can you speak to what resources may be available for some of our men and women who are experiencing crisis and trauma and need some help? What resources are available?
So the day that you're talking about was May 20th. That was our first annual Call for Action Day. And I thank you for your hard work for supporting that event as well. This is the day that we took pause and had all our elected officials. Everyone is operating in this space. Our active duty Major General Callahan was there, also to include our Naval Station Newport with Captain McIver, all there sharing their tools that are available to them to share their personal experiences. And they say, you're not on this island by yourself. There are tangible skills and tools that we have at our disposal to assist. We utilize our partner sister agency, BH Link, to connect veterans. Our riserves.org referral network through our Unite Us platform to connect all of our service providers, put us all in the same network. No wrong door approach to connect those veterans and military families with various service providers in our network. And I'm mindful about utilizing our federal resources as well. Our 800 number, our veteran crisis hotline number, 273-8255. Again, 1-800-273-8255. To pick up the phone and somebody is there to answer that call. And it's so critically important that, getting help looks differently from all the individuals. But you have to feel what's right for you to take that step. And as the head of an organization, my job is to take that step with you, to come towards you, to help you along that process. Is it going to be an easy journey? Not necessarily the case, because we know that this navigating COVID-19, along with the other stresses in life, we've identified some serious mental health concerns amongst all of our Islanders. We've all been impacted by this. But this is not a time to divide us. This is a time to continue to unite. And as the governor says, we are one team and collectively. And I'm so impressed with the amount of effort, the unity of effort that this state, combating a crisis, we didn't turn away from each other. We grow towards each other. And we take that combined strength in order to combat any crisis. And this is by no means a victory lap, but the work that we're doing here in Rhode Island is truly a testament to who we are as Rhode Islanders, but more importantly, to be that inspiration and that example for other states to emulate.
I have to say, you're absolutely right. That's one of the blessings of being here in Rhode Island. The hope is the motto. And throughout the pandemic, we have all grown closer together as opposed to pushing apart in a crisis. And we are definitely stronger for it. There are many resources that are available that you can connect folks to as well. Right now we hear a lot in the news about the housing crisis. If someone is experiencing or about to experience homelessness, is your office able to assist with that?
Oh, absolutely. We have housing providers that are in our network to take a collaborative approach. But to take that a step further, housing is one component of this. We also got to ensure that we have all the other wraparound services available to address the mental health piece, to look at the healthcare side of it, to address the employment and education associated with that as well. And so that first contact to understand that if a veteran military family comes to you for assistance, they may come for you for one thing, but as we start to peel that onion back and to ask the right questions, they need more than one thing. And so this is why we are in the training, utilizing our Unite Us platform to connect veterans and military families with the various service providers too, and also to make a plug about Unite Rhode Island. This is the first of its kind to put together in a collaborative way all of our providers in one network to address all the concerns that all of us Rhode Islanders have in that capacity too. And we're making substantial progress on those lines as well.
Yeah, your office is really such a key piece. And, one of the things I really like about you and your office, but especially you, is if there's a question that comes up, you're not someone who pretends to know all the answers. You are more than willing to say, I don't have that, and I will find out and I will get back to you. And you are not someone who sits in position that doesn't do what he says. If you need to find information, I have to say, you've always very quick at getting back and accurate information. So I always encourage people to reach out to your office because it's a place that can be trusted for resources.
Well, thank you. And this is a trust that takes time and takes build, and you have to build upon that trust. And I serve with humility as I said before, but it's about doing my due diligence because we're all customers or clients in some capacity. But I make it a point that when somebody comes to our door that's looking for assistance, our job is to get them the assistance that they need. Albeit it could be reaching across the aisles in terms of other states. I just got on a phone call this morning with the Massachusetts State Director of Veteran Services to collaborate with her on a couple issues that she's impacting in her state. We have a monthly call with the Northeast District, because I'm the Vice President of our Northeast District, consisting of 12 other states that are all working together to try to assist those to apply effective practices in order to better serve your community as well. And I can't do this mission alone without, asking the help from other state agencies like Behavioral Health, BHDDH, like the Rhode Island Department of Health, like EOHHS, DHS, DCYF, Corrections, all of us working together to better serve our community. And I couldn't ask for a better team to work with, of course, leadership by our governor's office as well, providing that guidance for us to guide us through this process to help us navigate collectively through this pandemic, but also, too, and more importantly, take those lessons learned of the past and apply them moving forward to guide us along this life's journey.
And Director, I know that you have to run. I so appreciate you taking time to join us here today and share what your office is doing. And I think that that's a great spot, that collective unity of all working together for each other. I think that's a great spot to end.
Thank you, Deb. And thanks for everybody listening today. Take a little bit to the hour today, and then just reach out and, again, help those veterans and military families, and also be there, too, as a support system for each other. And to be a good listener as well, to a shoulder to cry on. And I say this humbly because, if my job is to care for others, then I got to also take time out for myself and reach out for help when I need it as well. And that, again, it adds to the humility piece, but also too talks about if the director say it's okay to cry and you need a hug every once in a while, I need that as well. Then we're going to work this together. So thank you.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And you are a man of your word.
One team. Thank you.
Thank you. So everybody, I don't know if you realize that, we are 37 days away from the 20th anniversary of 9/11. The war in Afghanistan is the longest war in U.S. history. Just a little piece of information I thought I'd share. Governor McKee was unable to join us this year, but he has sent a message.
Thank you to the veterans, families, sponsors, and speakers as part of today's Calling All Veterans virtual conference. It's truly a humbling experience to be part of today's ceremony. On behalf of the entire state of Rhode Island, I thank the men and women who've served or are serving, and the family members who've sacrificed so much while their loved ones have been stationed overseas or across the country. We here in Rhode Island owe our veterans a tremendous debt of gratitude. Thank you can never suffice. These are our heroes who've heard the call, stepped to the front lines, and defended our freedom and liberty from enemies foreign and domestic. Throughout generations, Rhode Island has prided itself on taking care of its veterans. From World Wars I and II, all the way through the post-9/11 conflicts, the Ocean State has made sure to offer its heroes the resources necessary to help them. Today's conference is so important because it helps spread the word about resources that veterans may not be aware of, and many of these are available to them and their families free of charge. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Deb Burton, the Executive Director of Rhode Island Elder Info, for assembling this phenomenal event. Rhode Island Elder Info is a crucial connection for veterans in our state, providing seniors and caregivers in the community with valuable resources. This is important because as time passes by, we have to ensure that we cannot and do not forget our elderly veterans. They fought and sacrificed to make sure we enjoy all the freedoms we hold dear to this day. It's so important to reach veterans of all eras. To all those listening in today who've served or continue to serve, as I've said, thank you is never enough. Rhode Island owes you so much. I'm humbled to be in your presence and honored to be speaking as part of today's ceremony. Thank you for having me here today.
And now, Rhode Island's Senior Senator Jack Reed has sent a message for today.
Hi, this is Senator Jack Reed. It's great to be able to speak with you today. The work that Rhode Island Elder Info and Deb Burton are doing to help our seniors age with dignity and respect is so important. Today's event has special meaning for me, as I am also an Army veteran. So I understand the unique challenges our veterans face, both when service members transition from life in the military and as well as when they age. I know that it's not always an easy process, but there are so many great resources and organizations out there to help our veterans get the assistance they need. And that's exactly what today's event is doing, connecting our veterans with the people and organizations that can get them help. I know that we have a great set of speakers for today's event, from Director Yarn at the Rhode Island Office of Veterans Services to representatives with the Providence VA Medical Center and other local leaders of veterans services organizations. So without further delay, I would like to extend my best wishes for a successful conference and turn it back over to Deb.
And now a message from Senator Whitehouse.
Hi, this is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. In Congress, we do a lot to make sure that benefits are out there for veterans. We understand that veterans serve their country proudly, that they went in harm's way to protect America, and that they represent the very best that our country has to offer. So let's make sure that veterans get the benefits that they're entitled to. We want to make sure that every veteran gets every benefit that they deserve. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you to those who help our veterans get what they deserve.
My Congressman, Jim Langevin, for whom I sit on his Senior Advisory Committee, has also sent a message for today.
Hi, I'm Congressman Jim Langevin, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the second annual Calling All Veterans virtual conference. I'm proud to be here with you virtually this morning because the mission of this conference is so important to me. I've been a longtime advocate for independent living for aging Americans and Americans with disabilities. I've always believed that aging adults should have the resources to continue living on their own terms. For veterans, their loved ones, their caretakers, and for other professionals, this event is an incredible opportunity to learn about the resources available in Rhode Island for independent aging in one place. For our veterans, independent aging is about freedom, and it's about dignity. After they've sacrificed so much in the fight for our freedom, it's up to us to ensure that our older veterans have everything that they need to live as freely as possible as they age. To our veterans, thank you. You've given so much in service to this great nation. I will always fight for your right to age independently. To the caretakers who work tirelessly in pursuit of that mission, thank you as well. I see you, and I'm grateful for the work that you do every day to support our veterans. And finally, thank you to the RI Elder Info for inviting me to speak today and for putting this important event together. Enjoy the day, everyone, and thank you.
And now a message from Congressman Cecilini.
Good morning. Thank you to Deb Burton and Rhode Island Elder Info for organizing today's second annual Calling All Veterans virtual conference. It's a privilege to welcome today's attendees, our great veterans here in the state of Rhode Island, their families, and a host of organizations committed to ensuring our men and women who have served are supported in every way. Our veterans and their families personify the very best of our state and nation. I'm proud to work with my colleagues in government, our tremendous veteran service organizations, and partners across our state and nation in guaranteeing our military service members, veterans, and their families have the resources they need to live full and prosperous lives during and after their service. It is our responsibility as citizens of this great country to recognize the debt we owe to those who keep us safe and free. One of the best ways we can express our gratitude for the service and sacrifice of our veterans is to work together to make certain that no veteran goes without the benefits and services they have earned and deserve in housing, education and workforce training, healthcare, long-term care services, and more. Representing so many veterans from Rhode Island, who have answered the call of duty is one of the greatest honors in my public life. I hope that all veterans and family members joining in today's event know that my office is always a resource for you, whether helping you access federal veterans benefits, cutting red tape at any federal agency, obtaining service medals or documents, and much more. I encourage veterans and their family members to contact my office at 401-729-5600 or visit my website at cecilini.house.gov if ever we can be of assistance. We continue to be blessed with the gift of living in a free and safe society because of the extraordinary actions and sacrifices of our courageous servicemen and women. Thank you again to our outstanding veterans and their families, and to Rhode Island Elder Info for organizing today's event. May God continue to bless and protect our veterans and all those currently serving in our armed forces. And may God bless the United States of America.
RI Elder Info is grateful for the support of all of our elected officials. You know, we simply could not bring this conference to you without the support of our sponsors. I'd like to welcome Greg Ciara, Regional Vice President of Oak Street Health. Welcome, Greg.
Good morning, Deb. And first of all, I just want to say thank you to you and your organization. For those of you looking at this, if you're not familiar with Deb's organization, they are the pillar within our community for our oldest population. So, Deb, just thank you for everything, and thank you for the honor of being here today. But today is really about our veterans, so I'll just be brief. Oak Street Health is proud to be a sponsor, of today's event. We're a network of primary care providers for adults on Medicare with 4 centers in Rhode Island, 1 in Warwick, 1 in Woonsocket, and 2 in Providence. And I'm coming live from one of our Providence locations. Our model is different. We actually focus on proactive healthcare with the sole goal of keeping our patients healthy and out of the hospital. And in fact, we've proven our model reduces the chances of our patients going to the hospital by over 50%. I can speak all day about how we do it and why we do it. But again, today is really about all of you, our veterans. So on behalf of myself and my 100 colleagues here at Oak Street Health in Rhode Island, we first want to thank you for your dedication and your sacrifices. We want to thank your families for their dedication and sacrifices that they've made. We wish you all the best, all the resources, and we hope that you get all the information that you all deserve through today's event. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you so much, Greg. And thank you so much for Oak Street Health support and so much of what we do here at RI Elder Info. It really does make a difference.
Thank you.
So like I said, this event wouldn't be possible without the support of all of our sponsors. So a big shout out to Cross Country Mortgage. They're our sponsor for the 2nd year in a row. If you have any mortgage needs, give Susan Pomfret a call. AARP of Rhode Island, they have been a fierce advocate for older Rhode Islanders, and they are completely ready to rock with Catherine Taylor as their new leader. The Care Concierge of New England, Paul Jones, is an amazing guy who can help you find the appropriate healthcare settings for you or your loved one for free. I encourage you to give Paul a call if you are in need. Morgan Health Center, one of our sponsors, is also one of the VA contracted facilities that we're going to be discussing a little later in the show. If you would like, you can reach out to Aaron Campbell for more information. And thank you to Independent Benefit Solutions. They are one of our longtime supporters. If you have any Medicare questions, contact Lieutenant Colonel of the Rhode Island Army National Guard, Nicholas Pacheco. Nick's a great guy. Special thank you goes out to Mark Berger of Berg's Eye Communication. He's put a lot of stuff out for us in the media, England Studio, and Operation Made for helping get the word out, and D&B Media, who for making the magic happen behind the scenes today. This wouldn't be possible without Ben's help. Thank you. So since 1973, when the U.S. went to an all-voluntary force, the number of women in the military has risen dramatically. I'd like to welcome Tanya Maselli-McConnell, the Providence VA's Women's Program Manager. Welcome, Tanya.
Good morning, Deb. Thank you for having me. Good morning to all who are listening. I would like to thank all those serving, those who have served, as well as their families. It's my pleasure and honor to serve you at the VA Providence Healthcare System as the Women Veterans Program Manager. The VA strives to provide all veterans with the care they deserve. I believe there are some slides. I'm not sure if they're going to be set up for others to see. Next slide, please. At the Providence VA, we offer options for our women veterans. We have a continuity Model 1 clinic within the main hospital where women are seen by skilled women's health providers, or they can be seen within the Women's Health Clinic, which is a separate space on the VA Providence property. In addition, any female veterans that are eligible for care at the VA and live in, Middletown, New Bedford area, or Hyannis, we have skilled women's health providers within those facilities as well for females to receive their primary care needs. Next slide, please. So as Deb mentioned, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of female veterans within the system. Females have always been in the military. They didn't always get the recognition that they needed, and many did not utilize the VA healthcare system as they deserve. And we're getting the word out more and more that females should be utilizing the VA healthcare system for their healthcare needs. We've done a lot of campaigns, including the We're Not Invisible campaign, to really have women come to the VA, meet our staff, and really welcome them, opening our doors to all veterans. Next slide, please. As you can see, the numbers, just with a breakdown of age groups and how they're increasing. So we have female veterans in all age groups utilizing our healthcare system. Next slide. The Debra Sampson Act is a historic moment where nearly 2 million women veterans across the country now have access to quality health care, and Senator Tester put in the Debra Sampson Act. Next slide, please. It's really a way, this act is a way to eliminate barriers to care and services that many women veterans face. It helps them obtain the care that they deserve, and also opens up the doors where they received their care in the healthcare system, and require government accountability in a way for us to really be sure that we're providing every female veteran with the care she deserves, as well as their families. Next slide, please. Again, access to care with this Debra Sampson Act. Senator Testa secured 11 additional provisions within this to be sure that there are no barriers to the critical care that is needed. Next slide, please. We've also, within the Providence healthcare system, began to have focus groups for our female veterans. We had one in May. We actually have one tomorrow, where we have small groups of our female veterans, and we discuss how it is for them coming into the VA system. Are they happy with the care that they're receiving? Is there anything that we can do to help better serve them? Next slide, please. We, in the past, have had both end harassment campaigns as well as Please Don't Call Me Mr. campaigns. A lot of the female veterans have expressed that it really is disappointing if they're ever called Mr. and instead of Ms. or Mrs. We do a lot of education with our staff to be sure that they realize when there's a female in the waiting area that she's not necessarily the spouse or daughter of a veteran, but she very well could be the veteran herself. So we've done a lot of campaigns with education. We've also put a lot in our vehicles as reminders about respect for our female veterans. And we've come a long way. Next slide, please. So part of my job too, as the Women Veterans Program Manager, is to be sure and be involved in what we call environment of care. It's really to be around our VA healthcare system, to see that all veterans receive, privacy, dignity, that their care is what they need and deserve. But also along the way, there's been additional improvements throughout our VA healthcare system. Parking was once an issue, and then we had actual parking spots for our VA veterans for the women's clinic, and now we have a beautiful parking garage to make everything much easier for our veterans to receive their care. Sorry, the slides have minimized. If you could please increase them. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. A lot of what I just spoke about, Please Don't Call Me Mr. campaign and the end harassment campaigns, they're ongoing. Next slide, please. It really is just an encouragement of VA culture change, even with new hires, as well as ongoing staffing, in veterans as well. We just strive to make veterans feel more, welcomed and comfortable within our VA and our CBOCs, which are the community-based facilities. We have committees where we meet with representatives from throughout the state, and we collaborate as well with various veteran service organizations, as well as programs like the Intimate Partner Violence and Domestic Violence Program for outreach as well. Next slide, please. A few things unique to Providence is we've put in for some grants and received them. We were able to work with a female disabled veteran that's a business owner, and we designed some bracelets specific to our female veterans with the crisis line information on the inside of the bracelet. They were well received, so we've put in for additional grant money and received that. And we also recently have put into national for grants to increase our staffing specifically for female veterans. As the numbers continue to increase, we also need additional staffing for that. We do a lot of work with our telehealth department, especially during this past year, and increased numbers with veterans being able to receive their care via telehealth. And we actually have a nurse dedicated to women's health telehealth, and we have a lot of collaboration with that ongoing. Next slide, please. We have a robust Women Veterans Health Committee. Again, we work a lot with the Office of Veterans Affairs within the state of Rhode Island, veteran service organizations. We have 2 gynecologists on staff, and just ongoing transgender support. We support all of our veterans. In the past, we've been involved in the all-female honor flight, and have had open houses within our women's clinic. If anyone's interested and wishes to have a tour, please reach out to me, and I will personally provide a tour to our female clinic that we have. Next slide, please. Again, ongoing, we've had baby showers for our expectant and new moms. We have an actual maternity care program. We do not provide the maternity care at the Providence VA, but for those females that are eligible for their care at Providence VA, they will receive their care in the community paid for by the VA healthcare system for their maternity care, as well as the first 7 days of the baby's life. These are just some of the additional collaborations that we've had. This is my contact information. Please reach out to me. One of the last questions that I get a lot, and I just want to mention, is that sometimes people say, I have a provider in the community and therefore I don't come to the VA. You really should, because you can have a provider in the community and you can also have a provider at the VA. The VA offers so much for our veterans and you deserve the care. Thank you.
Tanya, this was a great presentation. I did have a couple questions. Are you finding an increase in women veterans coming in, or do you think that there's still a lot more outreach that we can all work on to help women veterans know that there are resources available at the Providence VA?
Absolutely. We definitely are seeing an increase, but there's always room for the outreach. And sometimes along the way, I have noticed that some of the elder population feels that they may be taking away from the younger generation if they receive their care at the VA, and that is not the case. We open our doors to all, and there's room for everyone. So we want to just keep, pointing that out, but there's always room for more outreach. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so does your office help when women may have encountered MST or inappropriate behavior? Back in the day, it was not uncommon for men to say really inappropriate things to women. Sadly, there are some men who think that that's okay now, but that's a whole conversation for a different day.
Absolutely.
But does your office provide the safe space necessary for women if they don't prefer to be around their male counterparts? Is your spot a good place for them to be able to come in and feel safe?
It is. And even if, so the separate space for the Women's Health Clinic is its own space, and there are female providers within that space. But even if a veteran is in the main hospital, there are always additional spaces and education, as I had pointed out earlier, to our staff to recognize if a veteran is feeling uncomfortable, or if other veterans are, sort of inappropriate in their language. We have a lot of signs that we've put up too with respecting all veterans to educate and continue to educate. We've done that, as I pointed out, in our vans, in our transportation as well, just as reminders. We've actually condensed some of them and have them in, just, respect our veterans, all veterans. But also, as far as MST specifically, even if a veteran is not necessarily eligible for primary care within the VA system, and we can get that information through eligibility, and they could call me and I can help them determine their eligibility. If someone has experienced MST, she or he may be seen within the VA specific to that. So our doors are always open to all veterans, and they can contact me. We also have an MST coordinator specific for military sexual trauma. Her name is Judith Berger, and she's within our healthcare system. She's a clinical social worker.
That's awesome. So it sounds like it doesn't matter what your health needs may be. Whether it's your regular checkup or if it's related to having a baby, something our men will never be able to experience, to even if you're having mental health issues, substance use disorders, your office can help them get connected. Sometimes our women veterans, as is the case for civilians as well, they are individuals who are caring for someone. They're the caregivers. Are you able to get them connected with the caregiver support group that the VA offers?
Yes, absolutely. We work very closely with the caregiver support group and assist. Also, every veteran that is seen in primary care is assigned a social worker, and that social worker can help transition them into various programs throughout our system.
That's awesome, because I think that's one of those things that, maybe we don't think of, that our veterans are also caregivers.
Absolutely.
So Tanya, this has been great. I'm so glad you were able to come on today. If there's anything I can ever do to help you cheer for your program or any of your events, please let me know. I think it's important. She served too, and our women veterans are not invisible.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deb, and thanks for all you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you. So I would like to welcome my next guest, Father Phil Salloy, president of the James M. Ray chapter of the Vietnam Veterans of America. Welcome back, Father Phil.
Well, good morning, and Deb, and good morning, everybody who's online right now. Yes, I've been the president of the Vietnam Veterans of America, James Michael Ray chapter in Lincoln, Rhode Island for probably, I think, about the last 12 years. I didn't realize it was going to be a life sentence when I said I do the first time. But it's been a very active chapter, and we generally get about 45 to 60 people at any of our meetings. We've finally got to start meeting again in May rather, and June. Then we've recessed for July and August. We'll be resuming our activities in September. One of our main projects when we do our fundraising is to help scholarships for our children or grandchildren of our members, and they have many, and many of them are going to colleges and really need a lot of support. So we offer a substantial scholarship to help them defray some of their expenses. I'm also the national chaplain for Vietnam Veterans of America, and I've been the national chaplain for the organization for the last 30 plus years. So my main responsibility there is to help with keeping track of the obituaries of our members and getting them published in our bi-monthly magazine, and the obituaries get put on our national website in our memorial database so that they will be there forever, hopefully. I wanted to also speak on behalf of Ernie Boiber, who is not able to be with us this morning, who is at this moment undergoing full knee replacement, I believe, at the VA hospital. And he was going to speak a little bit about his work as a service officer rep for the Northern Rhode Island area. Anyone in the Northern Rhode Island area, any veteran who is in need of services, who do not know how to file for a disability claim, for those who are homeless, or those who have find themselves without food or need help with their electricity bill or whatever, they can contact him and he will help them. He has access to sources that will help the veteran to file a claim and to also find for themselves for their needs. So I would, and if you don't know how to get a hold of Ernie, you can always get a hold of me at xuanloc@aol.com and tell me what your concern is, and I will forward all the information onto Ernie, and he will get back to you as soon as he possibly can. But we also have Eddie Viveros, who spends a lot of time at the VA volunteering as a service officer rep, and also helps file claims for people. And he's there about 3 days a week, I think, in the basement of the VA Medical Center in Providence. So Eddie Viveros is a member of our chapter, Vietnam veteran, and he helps all veterans of all wars who are in need of help. So you can always stop by the Veterans Office down in the basement of the VA Medical Center if you are there and need some help. That's about all I have for right now, Deb.
Awesome. And it's funny because when folks are looking for help filling out applications and things like that, I tell them, it's going to sound a little crazy, but go to the Providence VA. They have valet parking, so you don't have to worry about parking. You're going to go all the way to the back elevators. go down to the basement, look for the barber shop, and go down the hall where the barber shop is, and there's multiple doors there, and you will find amazing help behind those doors. If they ever move the
That's
barber
right.
shop, I'm in trouble for the directions.
Yes.
So are you finding that you have more Vietnam veterans reaching out to you now? I know as a country, our Vietnam veterans were not treated well when they came home, and many were kind of shied away from reaching back out to the VA. Have you found that they're reaching out again now?
They are reaching out, especially after the COVID pandemic, and they're coming to find out that they have more concerns financially than they would have expected beforehand. So we can there's not everything we can help them with, but we do the best we can with what we have, and we always have full of resources, referrals that we can refer people to. So do not hesitate to try to contact us. We will do everything in our best to reach out and find a helping agency that will find proper resources for our veterans when they come to us for help.
I think that's so important, and for folks to understand that when you're applying for benefits, you don't have to do it alone. It can be, I don't want to say overwhelming to do the paperwork. Maybe that's not the right word, but it can be daunting in that there's can be a lot of, if this, then that, do this form, do that. And I think, your VSO is an organization that can help people do that.
Well, one of the things I'd like to, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Deb, but one of the things I meant to say, and you're reminding me of that, is we encourage veterans not to fill out their own forms for disability claim. It's very complicated and it's easy to make mistakes. And if it makes mistakes, it delays the process or it gets rejected. So that you should always fill out the forms in the presence of an accredited veterans or service officer. And there's proper wording used when you're filling out the narrative portion that will enhance your ability to get the claim that you're looking for. So please do that in the presence of a veteran service officer when you're filing for a claim for the first time.
And generally speaking, when somebody does fill out the paperwork, say for a pension or the aid and attendance benefit, which can help cover the costs of care that someone might need in the home, about how long does it take for that paperwork to be processed? Is it something that takes days or weeks or months or longer?
It all depends on the backlog of paperwork that they have at the state and the level where they process all these claims, and sometimes those claims are sent to another state if they're overwhelmed in one state. They'll send it to another state to get it processed. It doesn't necessarily delay it. Sometimes they send it there to help expedite the claim. It took me several months to get my 100% disability, but because there was such a backlog, but they were able to clean up a lot of that backlog. So one thing you need to remember, if you're filing for disability compensation based on Agent Orange claim or service connection of some sort, the first check you're going to get is going to reflect from the day you filed the claim, not from the current day. So that sometimes the first check you get a what do you call a severance or backlog of all of the money that you would have gotten from day one when you filed that claim. I remember when I first got my check. I got my check because it finally was approved months after I had applied. And I think my first check was $17,000. That's how far behind they were. But then after that, it gets, it's normalized into the regular monthly check that you get for disability compensation. And that certainly helps all of our veterans with their rent, their food, their electric bill, the gas bill, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that's a really good point. So even if you say do the paperwork today on August 5th, if it takes them until December, you're getting back pay to August 5th.
That's right. Correct.
Yeah. Now, if a veteran is not able, say, for instance, they have some cognitive impairment, some dementia, are veterans able to get someone to handle the money for them, say a fiduciary through the VA?
And when you're funny, you just mentioned that we just had a veteran a couple of weeks ago, a Vietnam veteran friend of mine who was dying of brain cancer and is not really able to make decisions for himself. And so thank goodness his son lives in town here. And his son is also a Vietnam veteran. I mean, not a Vietnam, a veteran of Desert Storm. And we were able to get him to be the power of attorney. And so now he's able to make all the decisions for his father. And his father has just been placed in a skilled nursing home care in Greenville. So so the son is taking care of all of the business end of things for his father, and his father doesn't have any worries anymore about what he has to do. So we are able to help them find the proper paperwork for the next of kin to file for the power of attorney, and where to bring it to in the VA, and helps process it very quickly.
That is absolutely awesome. I'm really grateful that there are VSOs that can help people do this paperwork, applying for this, and having the conversation about getting the proper documents in order, like a healthcare power of attorney in order and that kind of thing. I think that's really important. I did have one last quick question. If someone didn't use a veteran service organization such as the Vietnam Veterans of America, can they be charged to do the paperwork? Can someone charge a veteran to do paperwork for benefits?
I've never heard of that, and I hope not. And it's not just Vietnam Veterans of America. They can come to DAV, processes those claims. VFW have VSOs. American Legion has VSOs in their own town. So, whatever organization they belong to or they don't belong to, we will direct them to the proper resource if they want to come to me. And if they're already a member of an organization, we will direct them to that particular VSO officer to help them process a claim. But they should never go to a private agency where they will charge that, when there's so much help out there that's free of charge.
I feel like when you've served our country, everything should be given because you have paid with your blood, your sweat, and your tears. I think that's really important.
They basically have no money to pay for anybody. I mean, they're living on fixed incomes right now, and so their money is very limited. So we want to make sure that we give them as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's really important. So you mentioned Ernie Boiber is having their knee surgery today. So you wanted to give a shout out to Ernie. I hope he feels better. And
yes,
is up walking around.
and you'll be back contact really soon.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so in the meantime, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, can you just share what that email was again?
It's X as in X-ray, U as in uniform, A as in alpha, N as in November, L as in Lima, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie at AOL.com.
Excellent. And then they can reach right out to you too.
That's correct.
You're also available for invocations and benedictions too.
Absolutely.
Well, Father Phil, I really appreciate you taking the time. We will see you again later in the show.
Well, I hope I did Ernie's spot justice, because he was the one that's supposed to be speaking on his behalf. So I hope I did him well.
I'm sure he'll let us know.
I'm sure.
See you in a bit. So again, folks, what we're doing here today is bringing you the information and resources that you need to remain independent for as long as possible, or to support a loved one who might be a veteran. And what we're doing certainly is not possible without the support of our amazing sponsors. So big shout out and thank you to Oak Street Health, the Care Concierge of New England, AARP, Cross Country Mortgage, Morgan Health Center, England Studios, and D&B Media, who runs the magic behind the scenes. This really would not be possible without their support. I encourage you to check them all out because they really are doing some amazing things in addition to supporting what we're doing here at RI Elder Info. So without further ado, there is an amazing program that is available for free to veterans of all eras. I would like to invite Mark Santo to the screen of the Providence Clemente Veterans Initiative. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks so much for having me, Deb. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So tell everyone about this wonderful program that you're running.
Sure. So the Providence Clemente Veterans Initiative is about to start its 4th year. We're going to begin in the fall again on Monday, September 13th. Our first class began in January of 2019. And with the PCVI, that's the way we refer to it, since Providence Clemente Veterans Initiative is a bit of a mouthful to say. The PCVI provides free humanities classes to Rhode Island vets, regardless of discharge status, education, deployment, rank, age, etc. We'll also accept some students from nearby Massachusetts communities, but the primary focus is here in Rhode Island. Our classes are on Monday and Thursday nights. We do intend, pandemic willing, to meet in person finally again this fall. Our classes meet on Monday and Thursday evenings, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. September to May, we meet at the Trinity Repertory Company's offices in downtown Providence. We have, of course, been on Zoom since March of last year, like so many others, because of the pandemic. So I'll give just a couple of basic details about how the thing is structured, sort of the what, and then I'll talk a bit about the why, and then if some of you out there are interested in participating, or have someone you work with or someone you care for or care about who you think would benefit from participating, I'll give you some information about that as well. So what we do is it's a humanities-based program, and the humanities is history. I'm a historian, so that's my background. Art, literature, and moral philosophy, and we also do a little bit of theater and creative writing in there as well. In the fall semester, we begin with the ancient Greeks, and we look at the American Civil War. And then in the spring semester, we look at the World Wars, Vietnam, and Iraq and Afghanistan. And each time that we look at one of those periods or wars, we look at them through the lens of history and art and literature and philosophy. So just to pick an example, when we're looking at World War I, we'd certainly look at some historical texts about World War I, but we'd look at paintings and poems by World War I veterans. We'd study some philosophy about some of the moral conflicts that soldiers will often face in war, that countries at war will often face. And the focus is certainly on the conflicts, but it's also on the experience of homecoming for veterans themselves within each of these conflicts. And one of the reasons that we do that, and one of the reasons why we think the humanities is particularly useful for veterans, is that there are many emotions, traumas, fears, experiences, and stories that veterans come home with today that are really universal across time, culture, and history for veterans. Whether it's struggling to find purpose and meaning and communication when you come home, that's something that's in the ancient Greek plays by Sophocles about coming home from the Trojan War, the Peloponnesian War. It's something that we find in the letters home from American soldiers on both sides in the Civil War. It's something we find in the great European World War I poets, and it's something that many veterans, of course, grapple with in the present. The humanities, we think, is really useful for veterans in a variety of different ways. One of which, of course, is that our course is made up entirely of veterans. So it's a place for community. It's a place for a kind of supportive, safe community in which for people to tell their stories and work out some ideas using the humanities as a tool. Because it can be very hard sometimes if we've been through a difficult, really, really challenging, morally challenging, physically challenging, psychologically challenging, emotionally challenging experience to go directly at it. So instead, you can talk about a play by Sophocles about the veteran Ajax who went through the same sort of thing, or you can read a poem from a previous time or a letter from a previous time, or read what a philosopher has to say about how do we think about survivor's guilt, for example? Right? How do we grapple with that individually? it's a little bit easier. It gives us a little bit of distance. We can figure out how to process that intellectually in somebody else's circumstance and then reflect it back on our own circumstance. One way I like to think of it is there's an old saying, I forget who said it, it's about travel actually, and they say that one of the great things about travel is not to see new places, but to see old places with new eyes. And that's kind of the way I think of our exploration in our classes of the humanities. It's, we learn new things, but what we really do in many ways is see things we've already experienced and known, and the wisdom that veterans have gained through new eyes, through stories and through conversations with one another. The course is free, as I've mentioned. One can earn, if a veteran who takes the course is interested in doing this, you can earn up to 6 college credits. The credits come from Bard College, but can be transferred to any university in Rhode Island or anywhere in the country. So, if a veteran out there is thinking of possibly going to school, but is a little bit worried about what the transition to being in a college classroom with much younger students without the same set of experiences, what's that going to be like? Maybe you've been out of school for a while, you're not sure what that's going to be like. Joining the PCVI is a great way to kind of get your feet wet, build up your critical reading and writing skills, do it in community with other vets without using any of your benefits. If you don't have access to benefits, it's a way to get credits for free. The books are provided, all other, notebooks, pens, dictionaries, all that stuff is provided for free. We can provide transportation assistance as well. We have a great partnership with the Trinity Repertory Company, who hosts our classes. And one of the things that we do with them is we actually bring some of their actors into class to do dramatic readings and discussion of some of the plays. So, for example, they'll come in and do a reading of Sophocles' ancient Greek play Ajax in the fall, which is about a soldier who feels that he's been disrespected by those of higher rank, and comes home and has a really, really challenging time communicating his experiences with his wife and his family, and is really struggling with that. They'll come in the spring and do a dramatic reading of Arthur Miller's play All My Sons. So, we have a great relationship with them. We have a partnership with Operation Stand Down Rhode Island as well, who's right there to provide services for any of the vets in our course and their families should they need it. We have a relationship with Rhode Island School of Design as well. One of our art history professor is from RISD. We get to tour the RISD Museum. She takes us out on tours of some of the war memorials that we have right here in downtown Providence, including the brand new Beirut one for the American Marines who were killed in Beirut. So, we've got a variety of different partnerships around the state. And there's a lot of different reasons why I think veterans here in Rhode Island should think about taking the course. And we'd certainly love to have you. And before the end of this, I'll kind of let you know how you go about doing that. If you're looking for college, that's certainly one way to, one reason to do it. But most of those who participate in the course really do so because they're looking for community. They want to be around other veterans. They want to learn from the enormous age range that we get in the course. Last year, we had someone who was 20 in the National Guard and someone who was 80 who was a Vietnam vet. The learning that goes across generations about not just their experiences in combat, if they saw combat, but, their homecoming experiences and, learning from older vets about how they process some of the things that they've seen. Is something younger vets can learn from, but there's also learning that goes in the other direction as well. For example, many of our older vets did not have the experience of serving with female soldiers. So the female soldiers in our class can also kind of educate them about what those experiences have been like, what it's like to be not just a female soldier, but a female veteran as well. So I had, we have a variety on our website, which is pvdvets.org. We've got a variety of different things there, so you can kind of get a sense of what we do. There's some written and recorded testimonials from some of our graduates. I wanted to play you just a quick testimonial from one of our most recent graduates, Jeremy Bergantini, who's a U.S. Army veteran. And then I'll come back and tell you kind of how you can sign up for things. So bear with my attempt to share the screen here, if you will.
Why is it important for veterans of all walks of life to take this course or to study things like the sophists of antiquity, ancient wars, and art throughout the millennia? It is hard to put into words exactly what PCVI offers to all of us involved in it. This class is far more than just the study of war throughout the ages or looking at pretty pictures or sculptures. PCVI is a class that requires everyone involved to be introspective in ways we were too afraid, unable, or unaware to try before. It is a class that cares nothing about your race, religion, or political affiliation. It cares about us on a human level, something that is missing from the society in which we return to. When we come home, we are expected to act like we did not serve. The expectation is that we will seamlessly reintegrate with society, fit in, and move on as though however much time we served is but a distant memory of a story someone once told. Our families hope and expect us to be the people they remembered, as though our life's journey has seen no shadows, only sunlight and rainbows. The truth is also that it is far from easy for us to talk about these things. Sometimes we cannot, we will not, or we do not know how to any more or less than you do. We may want to talk, even if it is not to tell of events, but to talk about our thoughts and feelings developed as a result of those events. The Providence Clemente Veterans Initiative is our path to get there. Here, we can begin to build bridges with each other and mend our fences and then traverse those bridges back in the ways that we all hope for. Finally, on a personal note that I said I would not do, thanks to the PCVI, I am finally, after a decade post-service, beginning to not feel ashamed of it and have my parents here tonight as the start of what I hope will be the rebuilding of our bridge. I want to thank you all for supporting us and thank you all for being here tonight. And I especially want to thank Rachel Garcia and Mr. John Kiernan from Senator Reed's office. Without them, I would not be in this class and would never have even known of its existence. So, thank you all.
Turn this off here, sorry. Okay. Sorry for the tech delay there. That was Jeremy's graduation speech from just this past May, and you know, it's a very kind of powerful piece of evidence for what vets can get out of the course. Oops, Deb, I'm having trouble. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me? Oh,
yeah,
there
now
we
I can
go.
hear you. I got you.
That was an incredibly moving video. And that is the testimony of one student. How many students have come through your class?
Let's see. We've graduated, I believe it's around 30 students. We tend to have between 12 and 15 every year. There are always students who are there for a lot of the time, but for a variety of reasons, usually work-related and sometimes health-related, can't finish. So the impact is greater than that. But yeah, so far in the neighborhood of kind of 25 to 30 students. Though, you know, I mean, I think Jeremy's testimony is kind of evidence to the fact that the impact within families can be quite a bit broader than that, because, you know, the humanities for everybody, not just veterans, can help provide us with intellectual tools, with words to try and get the things that are in our heads and in our hearts and in our souls that are giving us pain, get them into our head to process them and get them out there so that we can communicate with the people that love us, which is often such a struggle for all of us, frankly, but is in particular often a struggle for veterans.
Mark, this has been great. I If people wanted to reach out to join your program, how do they do that?
Probably the best thing to do, and I can put it in the in the chat here, is to go to our website. That's not actually a live link. I should put the full deal in there. That should actually get you there. You can also email me. I'm at pvdclementevets@gmail.com. There's an electronic application that you can just fill out online on the pvdvets.org site. If you're not inclined to do things online, you can shoot me an email. I'll mail you a paper copy. If you live anywhere near me, I'll drive by and stick it in your mailbox. If you have any questions, of course, you can email me as well. I'm happy to put folks in touch with previous students if they'd like to talk to them about it. It's, we try and take away as much of the obstacles and stress as we can. So the free part obviously helps. We can help with transportation. Vets everywhere that I've ever experienced, people connect so quickly to one another, and it becomes a really tight, supportive community that, particularly coming out of this pandemic when, so many folks feel isolated beyond what they might also already feel isolated. It's a group of tight friends really quick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It just real quick, do you have space for your September class?
We do. We do still have some slots left. So, please, if you are a veteran watching this, and this sounds like something that you think might benefit you, by all means sign up. Please share it with vets that you love. Everyone is welcome to join us. If some Massachusetts person happens to be peeking in on our Rhode Island conversation here, you're welcome to, as long as you can get to class. That's the main thing. So,
Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great, and the information is in the chat, so if anybody missed it, they can certainly follow up with you. Amazing program, and really providing an amazing resource for veterans of all eras to be able to really explore what they've been through. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. I really appreciate it.
So, as many of you know, the Rhode Island Veterans Home is a beautiful facility, but it's not the only facility where eligible veterans can go. I would like to welcome Louis Colon of the Providence VA Nursing Home Coordinator Program. Welcome, Louis.
Hi, thank you so much.
Hi. So can you please tell everyone what are the other opportunities besides Bristol for folks to be able to receive long-term care?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Louis Colon again. I'm the Community Nursing Home Program Coordinator at the Providence VA. Thank you so much for having us. I'm representing the Geriatrics and Extended Care Service. So we actually provide a wide array of services in geriatrics and extended care. My program is just one of them. Specifically, it focuses on long-term care and short-term rehab. So the Community Nursing Home Program is a program that has 10 local nursing homes across Rhode Island and the Cape Cod, Bristol, Massachusetts area. What we do is we contract with those facilities, and that allows us to admit veterans into those nursing homes for either short-term rehab, long-term care, on occasion respite, and hospice care. So a lot of times people just think that, like you were saying, that if you're a veteran, the only nursing home that you can go to is the Bristol Veterans Home, but that's not the case. With our program, though, we do have some restrictions, so I'm happy to share those. Currently, we have, just so you know, 126 veterans that we service across those 10 nursing homes. Our program is broken down into 2 criteria. It's broken down with service connection and then medical criteria. So to be eligible for our nursing home program at the Providence VA, that means that you must be a veteran that's currently enrolled here at the Providence VA with a 70% service-connected disability rating. or you have a single service-connected disability of 60% with an unemployable and totally permanently disabled rating. On top of that, you have to meet the following criteria. So you have to be dependent in 3 or more ADLs, or what we call activities of daily living. Those are basically the things that we need to do for ourselves. Bathing, going to the bathroom, feeding are just kind of examples of those. Or the veteran has to have a significant cognitive impairment or be diagnosed with a chronic disabling illness or condition. On top of that, the VA identifies long-term care currently as 75 years of age or older. However, again, it's on a case-by-case basis, and we are seeing more and more veterans diagnosed with Parkinson's and dementia in their 60s. So, that's not a determinant factor. Also, the VA will weigh into those veterans who were identified as high utilizers, meaning that they are going to the emergency room within 12 times within the last year, or have had 3 inpatient admissions within the last year. A lot of times, just being in a stable environment where you have 24-hour nursing care, a balanced diet, and a supportive service team can really prevent hospital readmissions. So that's taken in consideration as well. So long-term care is services for veterans that are experiencing functional impairments from acute or chronic conditions and whose healthcare needs are so extensive then they cannot be met in the veterans home, outpatient clinics we have, or community resources, but they require the continuous care. And then we have the short-term rehab program, which is aimed for those veterans that are discharged from the inpatient units and are going to require some sort of therapy, either IV antibiotics, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. And those veterans are able to participate in therapy 5 days a week for up to 90 minutes a day. And the goal usually after short-term rehab is to go home back to whatever your home may be. It could be an assisted living facility. It could be your own private home. It could be an apartment. In some cases, we do have veterans that after they complete short-term rehab, they do transition to long-term care. Our goal in the program is to be able to provide a range of nursing home services in a variety of communities while enabling our veterans to receive care near their personal families and based off of their personal preferences and needs. So I always say one nursing home doesn't fit every veteran. We try to get nursing homes in our contracted program that fit all the veterans' needs. So some may have more specialties in Alzheimer's and dementia care. Some may be a therapy focused program. Some may have like a restorative level of care. So it's really good when you're thinking about if you have a veteran in your life that may be needing this type of long-term care service, that you do your research and look up the nursing homes, call them, call us, speak with your primary care social worker. I think a lot of times as Rhode Islanders, we tend to go with the facility that's closest to our home, and that might not be the best one for you. So it's never hard to make the decision to put someone into long-term care or even get the veteran to agree to go. So making sure that they're going to feel the most comfortable is really important to myself as the community nursing home program coordinator, and I hope for the families as well. So I'm sure you're probably asking like what's included in this benefit. So believe it or not, the cost of care is covered in full. Veterans will receive a semi-private room and board, medications, and travel to and from all VA coordinated appointments, as well as any durable medical equipment needed while in the facility will be covered at no cost to the family or the veteran. Families can elect for a private room, but they would be responsible to offset the cost of that. Each facility has its own basic amenities. So for example, some may have basic cable, some may have landlines, some may not. So the family would be responsible for setting up any of the special things that the veteran might want to make them feel at home, or getting them that special man chair or woman chair that they like to recline in at the end of the day. I think it's also important to know that the length of the benefit, there's no expiration date. This is a lifetime benefit, and the veteran remains eligible for the program as long as they continue to meet medical necessity. And also, it's important to know that in some cases, we have had families that when they bring their veteran to the nursing home, the veteran starts doing really well, and they decide maybe they want to take the veteran home and trial home again with maybe one of our home programs. That's okay. And if the veteran does fail, or say they have Parkinson's and that illness progresses, they're able to go back into the nursing home. And again, the same eligibility would remain. And again, there's no cost. So I think, people often think that if they go into long-term care, they're signing their life away, and that's definitely not true. Another common question that people ask us is, will they lose their service-connected disability? So as I mentioned before, the veterans that we specifically serve are veterans that are 70% service-connected or higher. So that means that they incurred a disability based off of their military service and are currently receiving financial compensation due to that. So because our program is a mandated VA benefit, meaning that the VA has to provide this level of care for those service-connected veterans, we're unable to take any of their disability compensation from them. So the family and the veteran would be able to keep all of their funding. The only thing that does change is if the veteran was receiving any type of supplemental income from some of our other programs, like aid in attendance or a caregiver support stipend, those benefits would be terminated after 60 days of the veteran residing in the nursing home, as those benefits are made for veterans to remain outside of institutional facilities. So I think you're probably thinking, like, what do I do as the community nursing home program coordinator? So currently we have a team of just myself, and I have a nurse liaison, and we provide clinical oversight to the nursing homes. We act as a liaison between the veterans and the families. Prior to COVID, a lot of our veterans knew us because we were responsible for going into the nursing homes and actually meeting with the veterans on a 45 to 90-day basis. So they really became comfortable with us and were able to come to us with questions or any of concerns they had. Our goal is to always make sure that our veterans are receiving the most quality care and that our nursing homes are following our contract obligations. We act as an advocate when needed, and we can also assist with care plan meetings and discharge planning, especially for some of those veterans with some of the more complex medical or psychiatric needs. We also coordinate all care needed for veterans at the VA. So if they require any type of specialty care like neurology, endocrinology, mental health, we're making sure that the veterans are getting to those appointments and making sure that they're scheduled. I did mention that contract obligation, so it's important to know that I shared the list of our current nursing homes. There's 10. Those are subject to change at any time. Currently, our contracts are 5 years, and the nursing homes must maintain a 3 to 5 star overall rating. The stars are based on the Medicare star rating website, and you can find those on Nursing Home Compare. So our nursing homes are usually 3 to 5 stars, or they have 2 overall stars, and they have 4 to 5 stars in quality measures. It's really important that our nursing homes maintain those, as they're subject to lose their contract. So we really try to make sure that we're finding homes that are dedicated and not only serving our community, but serving our veterans. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to continuing serving all of our Providence veterans here at the VA.
Louis, this has been absolutely amazing to hear, because I think a lot of people didn't realize that there were options, tongue-tied, that there were options available beyond Bristol. So if maybe you're caring for a loved one, say he or she had been disabled, and their service-connected disability is 70% or higher, also known as a P1A, maybe you're a caregiver for someone with dementia, and you think, I would really like them to go to Bristol, but in the meantime, they have an opportunity to say, go to Morgan Hill Center and wait and it doesn't alter their position in line to transfer to Bristol. So I think
Correct. Yeah, that's a really good thing to highlight. Of course, like most of our veterans, a lot of them do want to go to Bristol. They see Bristol as the end all be all, especially now that Bristol had the multi-million-dollar renovation. On top of being the contract nursing home program coordinator, I'm actually the state veterans home representative for the Providence VA. So I maintain close contact with the state veterans home, and we do a yearly assessment to make sure that they remain accredited with the VA. And so I have to say the facility is very beautiful, and I can understand why the veterans want to go there. So many do oftentimes use our program as a stepping stone from long-term care. But we've also had veterans that they thought they wanted to go to Bristol, and then they end up liking the nursing home that they're at so much that their name gets called and they decide to stay. And that's perfectly acceptable too. Like I said, there's no end date. As long as you're continuing to meet that level of care, then we provide it for you. So, it is considered an indefinite benefit. And if you choose to live there for the rest of your life, that's okay too.
Louis, I'm so glad you were able to come on today. This was really important information to get out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me again. And again, we look forward to serving all our veterans. And I think the best starting point, if you have a veteran in your life that is looking like they might need nursing home care, it's getting in touch with their primary care doctor here at the Providence VA to link them with their social worker to start having that discussion about nursing home and if it's appropriate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, our sponsor, Morgan Health Center, is one of the VA contracted facilities. As Louis mentioned, there are others. If you need, you can see the full list by following the link that's going to be dropped in the chat box. So thank you to all of our other amazing sponsors: Oak Street Health, the Care Concierge of New England, AARP, Cross Country Mortgage, Independent Benefit Solutions, England Studio, and D&B Media. So my next guest works to raise awareness of both the visible and invisible scars of war. Welcome, Wally Coelho, State Senior Vice Commander of the DAV.
Good morning, Deb.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm doing well. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for hosting this. Good morning to my brothers and sisters in the veterans community. I want to first say that I rewrote my whole thing while we were sitting here because, as I said, Father Phil and Kasim, Tanya, Deb, you all did a great job of telling people how to get connected into the community and how to work at getting your claims filed. Again, I'm going to talk a little bit about what a service organization is, because a lot of folks don't know that. We have 61,000 veterans here in the state of Rhode Island, and I'd say about 10% of them are actually connected with service organizations. And the service organization is DAV, VFW, VBA, American Legion. We all have service officers. We're all trained. We actually have to go through training courses to get certified so that we know what we're doing and how we can help assist. As Father Phil said, don't try to do that paperwork yourself. Go out there, get yourself you can go to the VA down on Way Boston Street, but you can also visit the DAV, VFW. They have an office in the federal building. We also have offices, as Tanya said, and as Deb said, downstairs at the VA Medical Center. So, you're even there. Take your medical records with you, your DD-214, very important, and go down there and do that. I always like to use myself as the perfect example of one of those other 50,000 veterans that don't know how to get the services, don't even consider themselves veterans. As myself, I wasn't asked if I was a veteran until 2010, 11. Wow. And at that point, when I got out of the service after I finished my service in Vietnam, I just went about my personal life. I never knew of any benefits. No one ever asked me if I was a veteran. It wasn't a time to ask people if a veteran. It wasn't a time to admit you were one. So as the years passed, I never knew of anything. A neighbor selling some tickets for the VFW asked, would I like to come to a meeting as a member at the VFW and the DAV? And at that time, I kind of said, no, I don't usually do bars and stuff. And he says, no, yes, there's a bar, but it's not what a service organization is. We work to legislate and to advocate for veterans so that the government and everyone else knows what is needed and how to push forward. That's my phone going off. Sorry, folks. So a DAV, anyone is welcome to come to any one of our meetings, a DAV meeting, a VFW meeting, a VVA meeting. So if you're out there listening and you want to come to a meeting, there's no obligation to join. You can see a service officer. I personally am a service officer. All of us have a service officer. They're always in attendance of the meeting. You can get some more information, just as Father Phil and everyone has just told you about. So I'm going to leave it at that with the service organizations, because it's the end of the war. No one knew how many people were going to need this. That's how the DAV came to be. So let's move on to something a little more pressing today. Mental health. I am a team member of the multi-state Governor's Challenge to prevent suicide among service members, veterans, and their families. It's a crisis in our country right now. We're still losing 20 or 22,000 veterans a day. And in the civilian world, we're losing many as well. A shocking statistic that was told to me during one of our sessions, the second leading cause of death in a 10-year-old is suicide. So right now, with COVID that happened, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of issues that people are having. And again, we always like to say, it's okay not to be okay. That's not a cliche. This is a fact. You can talk about it. If you're feeling that you are getting withdrawn, you notice somebody who's being quiet, they're getting angry easily, when something isn't right. So you can ask the question. Please ask the question, how can I help? Let's talk about this. Let's have a discussion here. And if you feel like you need get more help, we can connect you to the VA Medical Center. We can connect you to people who can help. So right now, this is a very, very crucial moment in our time. Senator Reed proposed our new 988 number so that it'll be easier for people to get help immediately without having to pick up and dial the number, hang up the phone and dial this number, and a live voice is going to be on the other end. This 988 is going to be set up similar to the 911, where you'll be connected with an individual who is trained, who knows how to help, and you will keep that same individual throughout your needs. So whenever you contact that person, that will be the person you probably will stay, or not probably, but will stay in contact with. And hopefully that's going to come online early next year. It takes a lot to set it up, as you would imagine. It's been about a year now, I think, that it's been being set up. So we have a great team here in Rhode Island. We're setting up a website, which I believe we're going to start working on the actual website coming up this month. This whole group has been working together for about a year and a half with SAMHSA, which is the VA to prevent suicide among service members, veterans, and their families. These are physicians. I'm way out of my league when I'm in this. My skills are in organization. We have doctors, psychiatrists, sociologists. These are all folks who have helped us along the way. We give as an advocate, we let them know what we think a veteran might need to know and what's going on with their issues. And from there, we have broken up into similar special groups to address lethal means and et cetera, just so we know what to make this site easy, simple, and direct. Because once again, if you're in crisis, you're already frustrated. No one wants to get on a computer and get even more frustrated. So it has to be kept simple, and that's what we're trying to do. So at this point, I will tell you that at the end of World War I, the government sent a generation off to fight, and many of these folks would come back missing arms, legs, and they were blind, deaf, or mentally impaired. And there was no organizations to set up at that time. So 100 years ago, the DAV in 2020 was our 100th anniversary, began that journey to where we are over 1 million strong today. And we advocate for all legislation. We advocate for all veterans. And we are here just for the veteran community. It's all volunteer. For me, it's my second occupation now. In my retirement, it's one of the best thing ever. And a good colleague of mine said, "Wally, it's the best therapy ever," and he couldn't be more correct. I enjoy working for the veteran community, and if anyone has a question or anything, by all means, ask.
To hear, and I think it's so important to just reiterate that someone is available if you are in a position where you feel like you need help. You can call the 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. That's 24/7, 365. We know that veteran suicide, unfortunately, is very high, and that's not okay. One is too many. And I know that you work tirelessly to raise awareness for both the visible and invisible scars of war.
Yes.
I did have a quick question in relation to the DAV. Is the DAV still able to provide transportation to men and women who need to go to the Providence VA Medical Center, or did that
Yes.
change because of COVID?
I did during COVID, but it is back and operational. It runs, I believe, from like 6 or so in the morning till noon. They have to call the medical center, ask for transportation, and they'll put them down there and get on the pickup list. So as a matter of fact, I believe we're even talking about buying another a van for the VA here as well. So we'll be looking to help purchase a van there. But yes. And again, sometimes, just calling if you're really in trouble, just to see what you can get. Again, some people use Ubers now. They just put the valet parking back in. So even when somebody's bringing a loved one there, and again, I'll give you an example. I took a gentleman who's 82 to the hospital the other day. He's a neighbor. His wife called. She was in a panic. So I took him to the VA Medical Center and sat with him until they got hold of him. But having said that, he's doing well, and again can call and have somebody dropped right at the door and move on. You don't have to stay. They'll put him in a wheelchair and take him wherever you got to go. And they'll park your car if you need to go in.
So there's no viable excuse to not get the treatment that you may need, whether that is mental or psychological, emotional. Help is available. I think
help
that's
is available.
The biggest message.
Right. Help is available. It's just, some people are hard. They don't want to go get that help. They don't think they need that help. Again, if you're in a household and you are aware of this, and it's even more important if you know that there are lethal means in the house, that if there's a gun in the home, or you have this prescription drugs in the medicine cabinet, you need to remove those things, and right away. That's a given. You can take and leave them at the local police stations, the state police. They will hold them for you, and you will get them back. We're working on what the policy is on all of that right now within our little lethal means group, so that basically you want to remove any threat to that person or to the persons in that home. So that's an important thing to always remember. And even ahead of time, make sure. It's important to maybe put a gun lock on the guns themselves. Put a picture of a family member, your children, your wife, your children, have something like that in the gun cabinet itself. It might diffuse the moment, because it's all about diffusing the moment. At the end of the day, you want to diffuse the moment.
Yep.
that person is happening. So
Yeah.
maybe if this person, if it hasn't removed the gun, if they open up that gun cabinet and there's, his children or her children.
Yep.
And again, as they said before, this is not male person. We have sisters and brothers who served well, and there are women in crisis as well. And it's always well to ask them as well as much. I will, as if I'm out somewhere sitting in a waiting room, or I'm just sitting somewhere and I'm sitting next to someone, almost the next thing out of my mouth is, "Are you a veteran?" And that's whether they're man or woman. All right. I never assume that. I do the interviews for the Library of Congress, and I focus on women because even out of World War II, they got treated as Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them, like you spoke earlier, are in crisis due to misbehavior and misconduct by their male counterparts in the service, which is just, that's horrible. And so they need help as well.
So, Wally, you have a lot of great information and resources. I think I'm going to have you back on one of my Friday Friends shows to continue this conversation, because this is great. I really appreciate you coming on today. And I will shoot you an email to figure out when it's good to have you back on, because I'd like to continue this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
This was the other one, but they did a great job. So thank you very much. And thank you to all my brothers and sisters out there.
Thank
God
you.
Bless you. God bless you, hon. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our amazing sponsors: Oak Street Health, the Care Concierge of New England, AARP, Cross Country Mortgage, Independent Benefit Solutions, England Studio, and D&B Media. My next guest, or guests, I should say, are respected voices for those who are injured or killed in battle. Welcome, Tiger Patrick and Brian Willett.
Hi, it's tough act to follow Wally. I'm Tiger, and unfortunately, Brian is at an airport and can't get consistent Wi-Fi. So I've been given the mantle, and following Wally and being an understudy of Brian Willett, I have some big shoes to fill, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak today. And so I'm going to be a little bit more, certainly a lot lighter subject matter than what Wally covered, the vital message that he just relayed, and talk about the Military Order Purple Heart, which I am not a member of, but as the Senior Vice Commander here in Rhode Island and of the VFW Department of Rhode Island, but also a Post Commander 916 down in Wakefield, Rhode Island, we're trying to get the Military Order Purple Heart back. The Department of Massachusetts, which Brian is the commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, has about 50 members from Rhode Island. And so we just need to get this started. And we're hoping with our event this weekend to commemorate the opening of the Rhode Island Purple Heart Trail. We're hoping to bring out a lot of Purple Heart veterans and their families, get some camaraderie, and get them interested to follow it up with opening a post here in Rhode Island and continuing the fellowship. And so do you have the flyer that I sent to you, Deb?
I think I'm on mute. I think I do have it, and I'll be sharing that also across social media.
Okay, no, that's fine. Then great. Thank you. So we have really two events to kick off the Rhode Island Purple Heart Trail. And we're opening with a bike rally that begins at Showcase Cinema. And so don't worry if you haven't registered or you haven't even heard about it until today. Just go to the Showcase Cinema anytime between 8:30 and 9:30 and register, and you'll be on board with the rest of the motorcyclists. And I do believe we have a couple of chase vehicles, which I just learned are the cars and vans that will follow for those who can't ride or don't have a motorcycle but would like to be part of it. And we have a formal ribbon cutting, who I understand Father Phil is right up after me, and Father Phil has honored us, a highly decorated and very active veteran here in Rhode Island, with doing the blessing of the ride. And he also will be doing the invocation and the benediction at the formal ceremony a few hours later. But I want to say in person, Father Phil, thank you. You're a rock star in my eyes. And so that'll go off about 9:45, a formal ribbon cutting event, which Kasim Yarn and we believe Representative Cecilini will be able to make it. We had Senator Whitehouse confirmed there, but it looks like he's still going to be in D.C. Due to shenanigans or whatever's going on there in the Congress right now. But they're sending their folks there who are awesome, which I'm actually pretty more excited about, and I'll explain that in a second. And so the ride will start around 10 o'clock, and it'll go down. Basically, the whole Rhode Island Purple Heart Trail is all of Route 4 where it intersects with 95. And so the Showcase Cinema is right there at exit 8 on Division Street. So just basically starting there and going through all 6 communities, following Route 4, heading south, and Route 1, where it intersects with Route 1 in North Kingstown, all the way to Westerly. And the 6 communities along the way have all declared themselves and have proclamations declaring themselves Purple Heart towns. And we're real excited. It took about a year. Westerly and North Kingstown were the first. And I believe Middletown just came on board. A few of us in the VFW have made a mandate of ourselves to get every city and community here in Rhode Island to declare themselves a Purple Heart town. And so we're excited about that. Anyway, the rally, we're giving it about 2 hours to complete, all the way down in Westerly at the Westerly Elks, which is on 1 Dixon Street. If you're not familiar with Westerly, it's near the Armory, basically right across the street from it. And that's usually a landmark that most people can point you to if you need directions. We have a formal ceremony that will begin right at noon outside the Westerly Elks. And the keynote speaker is the governor, who will be dedicating and formally dedicating the Purple Heart Trail at that event. And we're real excited. I'm very honored that my peer and colleague and comrade, Ciara Kavanaugh, who is a military, she's a VFW post commander at 152 in North Kingstown, but she's also a Purple Heart veteran. And she will be emceeing and introducing everyone and telling a little bit about her experiences as a Purple Heart veteran. And so what we're hoping for throughout the course of the day after the formal event is to meet and greet with a bunch of veterans and their families, Purple Heart, combat veterans, or even stateside serving veterans, to meet and greet each other and just have a day after a year of COVID of camaraderie and love and honor and respect. And so we have music that'll be offered basically from the completion of the formal event at 12 noon to about 1. So music will start around 1 o'clock through the afternoon. And on breaks, we have about 8 to 10 service organizations. The Rhode Island VA will be there, Vet Center, Vets Inc., the VFW, the Department of Rhode Island will have a booth there. And the regional VA office will have VSOs there to meet and greet with families. And when the music has a break, every 45 minutes or so, we will have those groups go up to the microphone to introduce themselves and formally invite people to their booths. So we're excited. We expect to have a big turnout. Hopefully the weather holds. And today we're getting all the rain out. But the other thing that I wanted to invite other veterans and family members is we're having a meet and greet with minimally Kasim Yarn and the staff from the 2 senators' offices. If they can't be there, I can get their staff to commit to meet and greet veterans and talk about what their experiences were and how we can help them find services and the needs that they have. The VA, when we started this project, estimates, because it's really hard to track any number of Purple Heart veterans that any organization has, is through an opt-in by the veteran or the family member themselves. When they ETS or when they get out of the military or retire, it doesn't go to a master database where it can be trackable, a Purple Heart veteran. And so the outreach programs are important to get Purple Heart veterans and their family members in for the support and the services that they need. And so last year, when we were starting this process to have the Purple Heart Trail formally recognized by Rhode and the state and the governor, the VA has a number that they figure there are around 1,300 Purple Heart veterans that live within Southern Mass or Rhode Island that would be getting or should be getting or qualify for services through the various Rhode Island VA campuses. And only 800 or so do or are in the system even. So that means there are 500 of our neighbors out there who could be getting the benefit and services that they earned with their own sweat and their own blood in some instances And we really are hoping with a daily reminder of seeing the signs that their community supports them and loves them and honors them, that maybe that'll make them come forward, because not all wounds are physically you're able to see. And so a lot of folks or Purple Heart veterans and combat veterans are struggling in silence, and we want to help them at the VFW through this initiative of the Rhode Island Purple Heart Trail. And so we're real excited, and I hope to see as many veterans and their family members come out to the Westerly Elks on this Saturday. And if for nothing else, come to congratulate and thank our veterans who are there and who we are recognizing. And so I think that's about all I have. I'm pretty much open to any questions, but I'm grateful for this opportunity, Deb, to be able to speak about the project and the Rhode Island Purple Heart Trail.
You know, Tiger, I think it's really important for people to understand that in order for someone to receive the Military Order of the Purple Heart, it is because they have been in combat and wounded, or their loved one who was killed in combat. So this is combat related. And you, sir, have been instrumental in bringing the Military Order of the Purple Heart Trail to Rhode Island. You have fought a mighty fight to make sure that our highways have the signs to remind us. You are also the gentleman that maybe some folks have seen literally walking the Rhode Island Military Purple Heart Trail, sometimes even in the pouring rain. This is something that was a great accomplishment that you have done, that you have brought here. And I thank you for that. I thank you for your persistence and your dedication to this. And, you know, to everybody who's watching and all your friends, please, Saturday is Military Order of the Purple Heart Day, August 7th. It is a perfect day to dedicate the trail. It's going to be wonderful weather. Whether you're rolling on a motorcycle or rolling in a cage, you can participate. And the funds are going for a great cause that is going back to the veterans in our community. So I encourage everybody, and everybody you know, to go check out this event on Saturday. It's going to be amazing. There's a link in the chat so that you can register and find out more information in case you missed what the map is, that kind of thing. And if you need help filling out your paperwork, if you are looking for camaraderie and support, I encourage you to reach out to Tiger. He is an amazing man, and he embodies the statement, if you need something done, give it to a busy person. That's Tiger. He's always on the go.
Thank you very much, Deb. That's very kind.
Yes. So thank you very much for joining us today, Tiger. It really is important what you're doing. And I'll see you Saturday.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it. Thank you, everyone.
So we're almost done here today. If you need more resources, RI Elder Info has compiled a resource guide called Operation Connect. It is the only printable resource guide for military members and their families. The link for Operation Connect is in the chat box. I hope that you found this helpful. And I'm hoping that you have hit the like button and the share button, because we know that there are many folks who need the information that is provided in this today. I would like to welcome Father Phil back to lead us in a closing prayer and moment of silence for those who didn't come home.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I received a text message from Ernie, and they found out that he was COVID positive. So they canceled the surgery until late September. But he's home now. So I just wanted to share that with you. But he's with us in spirit.
And we're sending him prayers for healing.
He has no symptoms, he says, but just COVID symptoms or whatever.
Thank God.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be able to listen to all of our guest speakers this morning. I thank you for blessing each one of them for the information they have provided for all of our veterans. And we ask you to continue to bless all of our veterans in Rhode Island and continue to help them find the support that they need, as well as their families, especially for those who have been injured, both in body and in mind, that there is help out there. And we are here to help everyone, and just Lord, we ask you to continue to bless each and every one of us, our organizations, that we may continue to have the strength and the ability to be able to help them all. And now let's have a moment of silence for all of those who did not come home and for those who have been injured, and for our Gold Star parents and families. In your holy name, O Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Father. And
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you all in person on May 7th, 2022 at the URI Ryan Center for the 3rd annual Calling All Veterans Day. Make sure that you hit the like and you share this video out. People need to know it. Be well, my friends.